Because Jesus, you're my everything. Your will is all.
Hello, Africa. Welcome to ETV Ghana's African Women's Voices Show. This is the show that tackles issues pertaining to women as they contribute to national development. I am so excited to be with you again yet on another Wednesday. And those of you who are watching me live on Facebook, thank you so much for joining. Please share the link and let other people join because today we are going back to school. So those of you who attended girls' school, well, today is your day. We may not be mentioning the name of your school, but you can get your school mentioned by putting down the name in the comment section on our Facebook page. Just mention your school, tag someone who is prominent that attended your school for us to mention the person and let the world know that such a person attended your school. As usual, I always like to acknowledge those who have actually made it possible for us to have the show tonight. First is Chanashito, Ghana's #1 pepper sauce. You see it beautifully displayed here on the table. The packaging is on point. And it's the gifting season because February is a month of love and people are still sharing. If you haven't still shared, please do remember to actually share Chanashito to all the people you love. Chanashito identifies with your Ghanaian roots. Those of you who are traveling abroad, you need your pepper sauce. Pick Chanashito. Those of you who are trying to find another income stream, use Chanashito because people will buy. It moves really fast. Now, my outfit has been put together by Kubura Diamonds. You can pick her number right now at the base of your screen. And my hair was put together by Awu's Hair. Please find her on Instagram and Facebook at Awu's Hair. Her phone number is also right now at the base of your screen. I'll go for a quick commercial break. When I return, I get to introduce my guests who are both, or who are all from Wesley Girls High School and the Holy Child. It's going to be really interesting, and I need you to share the link right away. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back to ETV Ghana's African Women's Voices show. The show is actually getting started, and I'm going to be introducing my guests right away. To my immediate left, we have Kim. Kim is an old student of Wesley Girls High School and also is also in the corporate world. She is a customer service relations person with Colormax. It is?
Colormax,
All
it is.
right. Great, great, great. And we've got Nancy. Nancy is a fintech enthusiast and she's also a lawyer, so you can see how she's dressed in the black and white. Also an old student of Wesley Girls High School. And to the extreme side, we've got a beautiful lady who's in her neutral outfit that's looking so British, prim and proper. She's from Holy Child and she refuses to be intimidated. Yes, it's showing all over. That's Anne Barbara. How are you? I am so excited to be with the three of you because, I mean, when we talk about schools, there are particular ones that people always want to mention. And they will always mention Wesley Girls and Holy Child, St. Roses, Ibri Girls, and so many others that I'm expecting you to actually post right now into our Facebook comment page, okay? To get to understand them well, for those of us who didn't attend any of these schools, because I actually attended a co-ed school, not here, but well, I am friends with all of them, so I can't identify with them and say, okay, I'm an old girl of Wegehe, no, or Holy Cool, but I'm so momide. I'm right. So give us a brief history of Wesley Girls High School so we understand how far you've come and where you are right now.
Okay, so Wesley Girls High School was started by one of the Methodist missionaries, the second one actually, who came to the Gold Coast, his wife, by name Mrs. Harriet Wrigley. This was in 1836.
That's a long time ago.
A long time
So
ago.
that makes Wesley Girls how old now?
186 years. Yes.
Whoa, we're getting
Yes.
close to 2 centuries.
Yep, 2 centuries. She started with just 25 girls. And the aim was to groom them in writing, reading, in the basic training you would normally put girls through. And it was the basic school, you know. Unfortunately, she passed. just 5 months into. So another missionary had to take over a year after. It went through so many phases. We have some history with Infansipim School.
Okay,
Yes,
we'll get to that.
Yes, but by 51, the secondary bit had been set up, and Mrs. Compton had to separate it to our current site, which is at Kakumdo.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, the basic, if you like, the foundation and the projection the missionaries sought to give us was truthfulness, be fortified, build our confidence, groom us as girls, to be able to fit in the society while learning the basic grooming you'd get as a girl.
Nice, but I always hear you guys say, follow the king, follow the king.
Yes.
What's follow the king?
that's our school motto, actually. So
Okay.
it's live pure, speak true, right wrong, and follow the king.
Okay, but it seems like the follow the king stands out all the time when you say follow the king.
Follow the king.
Oh, nice. Okay, both of you are from Wesley Girls, so I'm just going to have to jump over to her. So tell us about Holy Child.
Holy Child was founded in 1946. So
Making you
we are-
how
We are
old?
77 years now, so
Okay.
definitely way younger than Wesley Girls. But I believe that the principles are very similar, so I won't go into that. But of course, it was founded by a Reverend sister who happened to have 5 children, ironically, because that's not how things are right now. So that's Reverend Sister Cornelia Connelly. And for us, I would say that our motto is actions, not words, or facta non verba. And currently we have 9 houses in the school, but just like Kim said, the foundations are kind of similar. It's also a mission school, but in this case a Catholic school with a brother school, St. Augustine's. So yes, the aim of the missionaries at the time was to groom young people for the future, basically. So whilst the Methodists were doing it with Wesley Girls and Infansipim, the Catholics were with St. Augustine's and then Holy Child
Holy
School.
Child.
Yes.
Whoa,
So-
you guys have really sped so fast because I was going to ask you later in the conversation some similarities, and I can tell there are similarities. You already have paired yourself with the boys' school, and they have their own pair as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's come to you, Nancy. What would you say is the purpose, for an all-girls kind of school?
Thank you so much for this question. I think it's important that we address such issues. I think there's so many misconceptions out there about one gender form of education, but then I think that the purpose for establishing an all-girls school also was to create an environment or an atmosphere where education of girls can be done in a unique environment or atmosphere where the focus is directly on nurturing of young girls and women without any interference from the opposite sex as well. We have unique features, unique capabilities, we're very, very different from males. And so it was necessary that a specific environment was created to ensure that women or young girls were educated in an environment which did not compromise any of their being or any aspect of who they were and all of that. Yes.
Great. So, Kim, would you want to contribute to that?
Eunice, you would agree when we're growing up in the adolescent stage, that is when you come to most of the girls' school. Yes, there are some basic schools which are girls' schools as well, but mostly when you're looking at the adolescent stage with the senior high school, mostly where we are coming from, this is when you are growing. You're getting to discover you. You are getting to know who you are. You're developing physically. So there's a lot going on with you at that point. Having to focus on that and learn alongside in itself is a Herculean task. So if you're doing this in addition to getting to understand the other gender and trying to please them somewhat, because you put together, you come into class and the boys on there, they're your mates. It's already difficult trying to understand how you look different from the next girl, how I'm looking different from Barbara and Nancy, how my physique you know, and the
Yeah,
development,
some
you know,
actually bloom
e-
earlier than the others.
exactly. So already, and at that point, nobody knows themselves. It takes time to discover you. It's that phase you get to know. So imagine being having to learn with all these going on with the other gender who at that point are also trying to figure themselves out. So we're both confused. But if you don't take care at that point, you have people projecting themselves, their insecurities and all. But in the space where you're schooled as single genders, you end up I believe you bring out the best in you because you can just focus on the development going on with you, your studies, without having to bother about the other gender.
So there's less confusion.
Yes, less
There's less
confusion.
confusion.
If you ask me.
Okay. All right. So would you want to contribute to what they're saying, or they've said it all?
Saying that there's less distractions. Because like she said, you're trying to figure yourself out. You don't want to add the pressure of having to think of what this boy thinks about me. Maybe you're already insecure about yourself in one way or the other. So now the pressure of, oh, why are the boys flocking to this girl instead of me? I'm not sure we
Yeah,
want...
because it really
yes,
happens in
it
co-ed
happens,
schools. There are
yes,
some
it
girls that
happens.
really get out the boys,
Of
and
the
then some,
attention.
you know, like no one is coming.
Yes.
And
Yes,
it
yes.
has a lot to do with, it really affects you mentally and even yourself and your worth, your self-worth and how you actually see yourself. You feel like, okay, I think I'm ugly. There must be something not so good about me that is making the boys not really come close to me.
Yes.
So, okay, that could
Definitely
be.
at that age, I think it's just, we're just too young to have all that pressure, honestly.
Eunice, to add on, you'd realize that the relationships we build at that point tend to last longer.
Yeah.
So we're
Sure.
in touch with most of our high school mates much more than we are those from the universities. It's because at that point, they're the ones we discovered ourselves with. We grew up together. We weathered the storms at the time. We got to understand each other with. So imagine at that point having some perceptions, okay, projected on you. Our experiences shape our perceptions. So if at that tender age you have people projecting on you, you grow up, you're talking about others feeling ugly, maybe. You grow up thinking you are. So then at that point, when it comes to relating to the other gender, it tends to somewhat affect it. So you end up being a woman who isn't confident in yourself because some male may have said something. And at that point, that may not have been a true reflection because this may be a gentleman who is also discovering themselves. They're just speaking to you from their perspective, which may not necessarily reflect what exactly it is. So, yes, being in the single-sex school, the girls' school, you get to unearth your full capabilities. You know, you
Okay.
bloom without having to deal with all the distractions, like Barbara said.
Said. Okay, so Nancy, before we go for the next break, I'd like to ask you this question. Where do you see like the biggest opportunities for girls' school?
I think more than ever, this is a very great time in our history, even as humans, and of course as Africans and Ghanaians. I think the focus on women now to try and bring out the best versions of women is now at the forefront. We're seeing a lot of great women taking up very big positions in society and affecting people's lives positively. And so it's very, very important that girls' schools and have the opportunity to nurture girls and try and get girls to be self-aware, to create visions and become better versions of themselves. And so in an environment where it's all girls, and most of the time we have older women, we can see that most of the schools were established by other women. And so they must have experienced life already, and then they also help to guide us to the type of women that we ought to be in future. And so at a young age, an all-girls school has the opportunity to impact positively on the lives of young girls who ultimately become women, who become mothers, who become aunties, who become role models for others. And so that opportunity is really huge. We can never underestimate it. And you know, from a very young age, when we are able to build character of people, as they grow up, we only harness that character. And they have big visions, big ambitions. And remember, I mean, Kweji Agri has already told us, you educate a woman, you're educating a nation, right? And so it's in fact, it can even affect positively our national agenda of probably eradicating poverty or improving the lives of women and children and all of that. So I see this as a very, very important aspect of our educational system, and I wish to encourage, you know, the powers that be, that we should continue to hold such girls' schools in high esteem. Let's focus and provide them the resources that they need, because it's very, very, very important that women are educated. A very educated woman means educated children. And when children are educated, it doesn't matter whether they are male or female. Everybody is going to be educated as well. Yes.
Awesome. So we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we return, we are going to lean on what she said. She mentioned something around role models. We're going to find out who we think are likely to be the best role models for girls. You ask most of them and they begin to mention certain names or certain people they've seen in books or in movies or around them. We're going to tackle that. Who would we think should be the best role model for girls when we return? You're welcome back to ETV Ghana's African Women's Voices show. Before we went on the break, we mentioned we're going to discuss role models for girls and who we think are supposed to actually stand as role models for our girl children. But before I go over there, I'd like to take a look at what's going on within the comment section on Facebook. I see Omari Solomon. You sent us an emoji that is excited, and thank you so much. I see Ya Ejewa Ba. She says, Nancy, and the heart eyes are what she's actually showing. I'm seeing Walasi. Walasi says he's a proud Hobson. Awesome Barbara. So please, Barbara, tell us what's the meaning of Hobson.
Association. So a member of the association is a Hobson.
The Hobson.
Yes.
Okay. Now I see Ni Ayite Welbeck. He says, Barbara. Yeah. Whoa, Holy Child. Good, good. Then Barbara Asamoah Arthur says, Kimi. Okay, that should be someone from Wesley Girls High School. So please keep the comments coming in while we go over to the ladies to speak to us about role models and what they think about it. Okay, let me start with you.
So Eunice, normally when we talk about role models, we tend to look further for people who are not in our lives. That's okay, but I believe role models are the people we experience every day, whose actions, their lives impact us somewhat, somehow. If I'm in school and there's the headmistress, there's the house mistress, there's the teacher. These people are impacting they're impacting my life somehow. So much as you may not be consciously paying attention to your interactions with them, they somewhat impact us. So subconsciously, you're picking some traits from them. Our parents, for girls, mostly our mothers, and then our fathers as well. We look up to them without even realizing we're looking up to them. So if my father is one who takes care of the family very well, is taking good care of my mother, somewhat the standards are set. I know in future I'm not settling for anything less than what I saw my father do. Somewhat, somehow that's a way of impacting my life. So yes, we may have those we look up to and may be intentional about picking traits and some attributes from them, learning, aspiring to be like them. There are those who are our role models, whether we like or not, because they are part of our everyday lives and they impact us without even knowing, without us realizing they are there impacting
Okay,
us.
so in your opinion, the role models are actually people who are around our girl children and have some kind of interaction with them on a very regular basis.
Yes.
So sometimes girl children, you say, okay, I would want to see myself as the first lady of the country. So I'm aspiring to be that way. So my role model is Mrs., some first lady somewhere who doesn't really have any form of interaction with you. So you need to take a second look at it again. You could aspire to be like the person. However, you still need to be able to find people who have interactions with you on a daily basis around you that you could pick up very good tenets from. Would you want to add something to it?
When it comes to the concept of role models, I think first you need to start with the version of yourself that you want to be. So let's discover the true version of yourself, the best version of yourself. And so it may not necessarily be what somebody is, but what you want to be, what you aspire to be. And that goal, with that goal in mind, you can find attributes in people around you. So your role model may not necessarily be just one person. You can find different attributes from different people. And being a girl child, it doesn't only mean women are the persons who become your role models. You can even have men also being role models, because you will find specific attributes in them that you want to see in yourself. And so you're interested in, for instance, you like how somebody has advocacy skills, how the person speaks in public speaking, but it may not necessarily be a woman that you're looking up to. You have seen that attribute in a certain man, or in a certain book that you have read, somebody's biography, you've seen that. And so you aspire to want to be like that particular attribute in the person. And so you take that attributes from, and you can take several attributes from people. So as young people growing up, you don't need to be fixated about one person and I just want to be like this person. No, you can be the best version of yourself. And on that journey, you may find different attributes in people that can impact you to be able to get to that version of yourself that you want to be at. And remember that these persons may be men, they may be women, they may even be your friends. You can see some great attributes in a friend of yours. Not all of us are the same. For all you know, maybe it's about how somebody else, how they manage themselves, how they arrange their things. Back in school, you see that there's someone who's very neat, how they arrange their clothing. You go into their trunk, everything is arranged really nice, very organized. And you realize that that's how probably the person has been brought out from home. And so that person has that character traits already. But you may have been brought up differently. But there is absolutely nothing wrong from learning the positives of the people that are around you. So you can learn positive attributes from younger people, people who are your age mates, people who are men, people who are women. You can learn from people who will not be very high in society. You may even find attributes, excuse me to say, the security man at your gate, because of how he even receives people. When you honk your car and you're coming into the house, he will greet you, welcome you into the home in all humility. You can even learn that attribute from that person also. And of course, if you're also a Christian like I am, we learn specific attributes from characters in the Bible, and you may want to emulate some of all those things. So it's not only about females that we want to learn some of these attributes from. So I focus more on specific attributes in people rather than one single person saying that this is my role model. No. If you focus on that all the time, you might miss something. You might miss it.
Sure. Barbara? That's right.
Basically, a lot of what I wanted
They
to
nailed
say.
it.
Yes.
All right, that's good. So I think at this point in time, let's take a look at certain people that you mentioned to us when we posted that we're going to be looking at some old students and how they see the all-girls school. Some of you sent us messages about prominent people in your schools that you would like us to actually highlight, so that it's not just restricted to certain schools. So those of you who sent us visuals, well, we are going to show them right away. So director, are we able to show? Okay, that's her. This is the MD of Absa Bank, and she's also an old student of Wesley Girls. Yeah. Okay, and this one, St. Roses, that she was an old student of St. Roses. Beautiful one, a musician that is a legend, Akose Japan. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. St. Roses all the way. This, I remember, is a medical doctor as well from St. Roses, right? She's a Hobson rider. Okay. So these are the visuals he sent to us. Yeah, this is not Hobson. This is not Wesley Girls. She's from St. Roses. So those of you who sent us these visuals, I'm very sure you're happy to see. And Nano Pokwajiman is the Wesley Girls. Okay. This is St. Roses as well. Hey, Wesley Girls.
Yes, Wesley Girls.
Yeah. Lisa Quiz. She was here last week, actually. Yeah, she was the guest for last week.
Hobson.
She's
Yeah.
a Hobson?
Yes,
This one?
Hobson.
Okay. Salome. Nice
Hobson.
one. Another Hobson?
Yes.
Okay, I think. Now Hobsons are leading, eh? Yeah, this is Vodafone, the Vodafone MD. Ah, this is Ebury Girls,
Yes.
the National Science and Maths
Kaufman.
Quiz professor, Professor Elsie Kaufman. Yeah, this is a Hobson.
Yeah, Hobson.
Yeah. Okay, this is St. Rose's. This is Rene Q. Beautiful. So I hope you know we've done justice to the visuals that you sent to us. And if you saw somebody who belonged to your school, please put it there that, yeah. I saw one of our old students also being highlighted. I sent the visual and we showed it. So we are still going to go back to our Facebook page to see what's going on there and see what your comments are looking like. Okay, so just before we go there, I'd like to say, how should schools empower young females now? Because, you know, when I asked you a question earlier, Nancy, she mentioned something around the fact that, you know, this time, I mean, it couldn't have been at a different time because we are all talking about empowering the woman and making the woman stand out and see that she can actually do things that she's always been told that she can't do. So now that we agree on that, how should we get women empowered in our schools? Because at this point in time, it seems like, okay, the academics are taking the lead. It's more about, okay, get your science or get your arts or social science on point, your grades. Are we really looking at how to empower the girls, you know, with certain skills that are soft or even skills around public speaking? Because if you are an empowered girl, you should be able to communicate and speak as you should speak. It's not supposed to be restricted to those in the debating society. Some, you know, people have school clubs, and only those who are in the debating club are the ones who get the chance to actually memorize their lines and do something, or those who are in the theater arts group who will have to, you know, do the plays. So if I'm not in any of these groups, how would I get empowered as a girl child? Who would want to start? You want to?
More than ever, now it's very important that the holistic human being becomes the focus. We're not only thinking about your intellect, which is just the knowledge we acquire from the courses or the subjects that we read. We should be focused on developing holistic beings. And now that we are talking about girls, let's just limit it to girls only for the purpose of this show. Not that the boy child is not important, he's also equally important. But coming to girls, we want to develop girls who are holistic. And so we're not only looking at your intellect, we are also considering your mental well-being. So the time is right that now we will also focus on mental awareness of girls. So, I mean, authorities in school, this is the opportunity, especially now that we are aware that a new cohort of young girls are being admitted and they're going to go back to school. They're going to go to school very soon. It's also important that as part of the curriculum that we are giving girls, we also focus on their mental health, self-awareness, building confidence, making sure that we don't only focus on the knowledge that you acquire in school, but also the soft skill, even human relations. How do we relate to people? How do we confront conflicts when they arise? How do we resolve all of that? And being at peace with who you are, accepting who you are. You know, when you have those basics right, you grow up to become a whole being. And then we have people in society who are fit for purpose. People who can, you know, navigate through the challenges of life, because we are now adults. We all know that life is not that easy.
It's not that easy
It's not.
at all.
Sometimes we wish we could go back and be kids again.
Yeah, someone actually sang a song, Adulthood Must Come.
It's a big
You know?
scam. It's quite difficult. So it's very, very important that we equip young girls now with the skill of mental development, self-awareness, building confidence, conflict resolution skills, and then whatnot. We shouldn't only be focused on do science, become a doctor, but we have to build character as well. Resilience. Being resilient, resolute, and believing that though life may not always be perfect, life may not always be sweet, we can have some, you know, hurdles. How do we deal with the challenges of life as we're growing? Anything can happen to family, your parents. How do you deal with difficult challenges? You know, we should equip girls to have that kind of knowledge, and I think that now is more than right. Now is more than the perfect time for schools to also focus on, the mental well-being of children. Don't forget that children also go through stress.
Yeah.
Children
True.
also go
They
through
do
a
go
lot
through
of
stress.
a lot of stress, and it's important that we also focus on the mental well-being of the girl child as well.
Amazing. So I'd like to ask you, um, Barbara, if a caregiver at home right now is sitting on the fence and is wondering, huh, am I really on the right path to let my girl child go to a girls only school? What would you want to say to the person who is watching right now? Okay,
Look at us.
get off that fence and
Get
take
off
a
that
good
fence.
look.
Take a good look at us. And yes, basically, no, don't be too like undecided. Why shouldn't your child go to an all-girls school? Like Nancy has said, like Kim has rightly said, it's not just about the books. It's about being a well-rounded individual, being able to fit in because you already have that confidence. I remember when we went into our first year in Holy Child, the headmistress at the time, she tells you that, my girls, when you go out there and these boys tell you you're beautiful, don't like your first response shouldn't be thank you. It should be, I have a mirror. I mean, it may sound conceited, but at least it's some way of letting you know that you don't need the outside influence to bring out that inner beauty in you. It should come from within. Confidence should come from within. So then, as a parent, don't think that your child should be in a co-ed school before they would have that well-rounded like life, more or less. There's definitely a time for everything. I mean, we went to all girls schools. After that, we went to the universities, and universities are co-ed. So yes, when the time comes where you need to learn certain things from the other gender, that time will be there. Don't be on the fence for too long. Please get off the fence.
Please get off the fence. Well, this is the time we get to open our phone lines to see if we'll be able to take some calls about people who are proud to have attended all girls school. You tell us why you are happy to have attended your school, and then if you have notable people that you'd like to mention and say hi to, please, this is the time to be able to do that. So, Director, please open the phone lines. The phone number is right now at the base of your screen. Pick it up and then give us a call, okay? And then, would you want to contribute to what she said about people sitting on the fence around whether their children should attend an all-girls school?
I believe, and I always say this, the best gift anybody can ever give themselves, any woman could ever give themselves, is taking time off to discover who they really are before taking on those extra responsibilities of being a mother, of being a wife, of being an aunt, and all the other, responsibilities. And this is the reason why. From birth, we have these responsibilities to be, we're taught to nurture right from birth. So I'm supposed to take care of my younger sister. I'm supposed to help mommy in the kitchen as a girl. You get overwhelmed through all of these. So then going back to the co-ed schools, you are already thrown in there to start life, taking care of everybody's emotion, how somebody's looking at you, how they're perceiving you and all. But at the point where you have that space to get to discover you, to build your confidence, to be able to nurture the you, as Nancy said, trying to be a better version of you, because once you're with your mate, who are all girls, you see the attribute you would want to associate with. You see the headmistress, Mrs. Nancy Thompson, Mrs. Betty Jokoto, Miss Wilberforce, and how you're supposed to walk uprightly, how you're supposed to talk, how your chin is supposed to be up high, your shoulders. All of those. You get to learn these. You get to you get used to it. You get used to practicing it, being it, owning it, before you come into the world. And that is where we have some of the issues we have, where it is that you're too known, you're not compromising. No, it's not because you're not. It's because you've taken time to get to know who you are. you know what you settle for, what you will not settle for, and what you're able to compromise on, what you're not able to. That way, you have individuals who are confident in themselves, who know what they're about, who contribute from a good place. You can only take on those extra responsibilities when you are in a good place. So we have a lot of people going through depression after childbirth. There's the mental health issue. Through COVID, a lot came to the fore because mostly we do not take time to get to know ourselves, get used to who we really are and be better versions of ourselves, because we're always thrown in this, space where there's so much you're dealing with. So for anybody sitting on the fence, the best you can give your girl child is to get her in a space where she can take time to grow, to get to know herself, to get to know what the responsibilities ahead are like. Because in Wesley Girls, you're learning how to scrub with the nails and the toothbrushes and everything. Yes,
You learn how to clean
scrub. We scrub
with
gutters.
nails.
Nails.
Yes, to
Nails.
polish,
Like nails, hammer and nail.
concrete floors,
Toothbrushes.
to polish it, and all of that.
Scrubbing brushes.
Because we are looking to get it
Perfection.
as
You
clean.
need to see the floor shiny.
Yes, we need to see
Exactly.
your face in it. It
You
has
know,
to
you're
be that
cleaning the
shiny.
windows with newspapers, to get it a particular way. So if you're out here, a corporate woman, and you have help cleaning, not because you can do it, but because you may not have the time, and somebody does it just anyhow, and you come and no, this has to be a particular way, you can get it done that way. So you demand that because that's what you've been taught to, aspire for. So you don't settle for just that. And it only comes when you've had years of having
Grooming.
to grow through it, grooming, exactly, to get to that point. So at that point, perfection becomes the hallmark. And if we're all to be in that space, it makes life easier.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Nancy, what will be your final words? Because
mean,
interestingly,
if-
1 hour is just
Yeah, I know.
done.
If there's any caregiver, any parent out there who has a girl child, even a boy child that is going to one-sex school, I think congratulations. It's not easy to raise children to get to this level and to this standard. You are doing well. Good job. We won't get it all figured 100%. I'm also a parent, and it's not easy raising children. We are constantly praying and asking for guidance and praying that our desires and our wishes for our children will come to pass. And so if you've gotten to that level where your child is going to senior high school, congratulations on that. May God give you the provision to be able to take care of your child to the level that you wanted to get to. But most importantly also, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for your child. The best gift you can also offer any child is education. And so if you've gotten to this level, to continue to give education to your child is a good thing. And then also, do not be worried, don't be confused. Look at us. There was a time when we were 13, 14 and 15 and we still went to senior high school with our trunks and chop boxes. Some of us cried when our parents were leaving us. I was like, what is going on? Why have they left me? Why am I with other people I've never met in my lives before? Why do I have to sleep in a room with all these people in a dormitory? I don't understand.
Yeah,
know?
and why do I
But
have to
we've-
wake up so early to take my
exactly,
bath?
why?
It's so cold.
Yes.
Cold water.
Why is there no hot water? But we survived it. And those are life skills that we have picked up and which has shaped us to be the women that we are today. So don't worry, your child will make it, they will survive. Continue to encourage them. Know that you have raised them from home with values. So trust what you have done with them. The Christian tenets, because I'm a Christian, I usually tend to lean towards that side. But the principles that you have taught them, know that they will adopt it, they will apply it, and they will use it. They will not embarrass you, they will not disgrace you. Your children will make you proud. At least our parents see they are proud of us. And so you will also be proud of your
your own
children.
children too.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, this has been an amazing time. I have had a great time with the Hobsons and the Wege people and those of us who went to the co-ed schools. Hey! Okay, so the repeat broadcast of this show is going to be at 9 a.m. on Saturday. If you missed a lot or a lot more of the show, It's on our Facebook page. Please go back and watch it and share with others to encourage them and let them know that going to an all-girls school really has got advantages. We also are going to upload this content on our YouTube page. So just to ensure that everyone gets the message, and you also have to help us to get the message out there. Thank you very much for joining me. Until I see you same time next week to enjoy the rest of our interesting lineup for you. Bye-bye.